that would allow for the number of qualified individuals to touch our children so that when they go back to school Wednesday afternoon, it is about quality education. I know that, there's always next steps. I hope that anyone who's listening tonight will make sure that they come to the final budget hearings next Monday at 7 o'clock at the middle school for the school department, and next Wednesday at 7 o'clock in this room where these budget discussions will continue and you can have an opportunity to voice your concerns. I hope that you don't find that our requests through our emails and phone calls and visits here are about greed or being disrespectful. We understand that you have very difficult choices to make because you have conflicting priorities. But what we do ask is that you, when you make those difficult choices, that you reduce the services proportionately and fairly across the board.
Should I feel compelled to respond to every single one of them individually? Or can I do it here?
Whatever you'd like. And then I do have one question or a request, if I might so do. We're doing everything we can to educate the public and trying to get them involved. And I think the fact that this room is full is a testament to we're getting there, slowly but surely. And we know that we need to have an awful lot of people attend town meeting April 7th at 7 o'clock. As a parent, it's going to be difficult enough for all of us and hundreds of other people to find the same babysitters, there's just not enough kids to go around, on even that one night. So I respectfully request an opportunity
I can't
for...
babysit, I'm busy.
I
thought that was doing a
On
request.
second thought, I might volunteer.
I'll do it.
I have a
I'll do it.
commitment.
What time you want me there, 6:30?
No, I need you at the meeting. Respectfully request that you might consider putting the operational budget early enough as a warrant article so that it can be properly discussed, so, questions could be asked and answered, and that we could finish that discussion on Monday evening so we can maximize the attendance that we'll get.
Just a comment on that, we will be having a special town meeting as part of the regular town meeting as a result of DOR's rulings on supplementing the current budget. We have a number of articles that are related to this year's budget. So we will commence the meeting, and then we will adjourn to the special town meeting first, dispose of those articles. Hopefully we can do that rapidly before we then proceed with the regular town meeting, just so you know.
But right now, the omnibus article is where?
Well, we haven't numbered the articles.
So if you have the opportunity to put it earlier in the process, would greatly appreciate it.
I think all the board members heard your request.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience? We've got a little more time before we move on to the...
I can't top that, Deanna. Pam Ellis, 22 Magnolia Street. I did send you all an email. Thank you for the person who responded. I heard a little bit more than Diana, and I do thank you all for all of the thoughts that you've given for trying to come up with a solution. I agree with Mike that we need to think long-term for the solutions for our town, but in 2009 is coming, and it is here, and we do need to do something about it. And what I'm hearing is that you're looking to fund more than the $400,000 needed for the status quo. I'm hearing that you're in disagreement of how to come up with that money, but I'm happy to hear that you're at least feeling it's as much of a priority as we are. And
let me stop you there and clarify. The $400,000 doesn't create a status quo budget. The $910,000 creates a status quo budget. That $400,000 number is almost meaningless. It was what we asked the superintendent to identify if he had to cut from a status quo budget. What would he cut? And it was just an exercise in understanding what priorities might be if we couldn't attain enough to fill the gap.
Okay. Well, I'm happy that it seems like it's a priority for all of you, and however you come up with the funds, you come up with the funds. But the most important thing to me is that we restore the cuts that we made last year. And if we have to do it, however way we have to do it, we have to do it. And I hear that you say that that some of you are gonna support an override, but I hope that the override isn't just to fund the school budget, but if you take resources away, like if you cut the police officers or whatever you do, that you can restore some of those with the override too.
I mean, you know, if we go for an override, from my point of view, we would ask for an override for what's needed to fund town government, all of town government, schools and here. So yeah, I wouldn't see going for an override that's just for the schools. That to me doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
You're gonna
because
have
I
an
don't want the override to be
Restore all
just about.
override will, my recommendation would be an override will restore all cuts.
Thank you.
I would agree with that.
It would appear, and again, I'm agreeing, as far as, you know, what the override would be in relation to, it wouldn't be just schools, it would be school and general government. But we really, the general government suggested, the things that would need to be restored on the general government side are pretty small. And I would expect that what the school department is looking for above and beyond, coming up with that $1 million, $900-some-odd-thousand, is reinstituting some of the programs.
What they're asking for, Steve, above and beyond the
870.
900 is the 870,
Is the 870.
with a breakdown of what they're proposing to do.
Right, and again, anything that we come above and beyond, if we can get beyond the $900-and-some-odd-thousand, we'll help restore some of those things, and that number may come
Yeah.
down.
I mean, we have to sit down and come up with a number.
But I mean,
We have to come up with an override
but
number.
as
We're
far
gonna
as,
go for an override.
but as far as what you propose, Bob, again, I haven't added it all up, what is it that we would be looking for to restore? I mean, would it be the, the recreation, putting it back, $150,000, or are we gonna?
The back of the envelope,
Yeah. Just
numbers
curious as
that
to
I
what-
have in mind is that the town administrator's numbers, I've reduced from 800 to 700 because I think the vocational school, that reduction is fictional. And,
Last year, they hit us with $57,000 more.
right,
so.
and, you know, we got a little bit of time to go and figure out what that is, okay? And then I would make all of the cuts that I had proposed, the 525. So I'd add the 525 to the 700, and that's 1,225,000. Still a little short of, it fully would fund the 910, leaving just about $300,000, which is a little short of filling those top two positions there, which my understanding would put art, and music, and PE, and health back in the system, which would eliminate the Wednesday early release. It certainly is a far stretch to get to the 870 number on top of the 910.
So,
Well, the odd part here is what's the
Let
I'm
me
sorry.
finish. Okay? So, now, what do we have that could fill in some of those numbers that might help out, that we might get early notice of? One is the health insurance associated with a different percentage, rather than 15 going down to 12 or some other number. Right? So there could be some additional money saved there. But other than that, to get to the 870 number, right, it's not going to come out of anything unless we want to take some further steps and really cut into town services beyond what I proposed here. And that's putting the burden on recreation and library, being fully fee. I'm sorry, library reduction, which may or may not be possible based on losing accreditation, and recreation to the tune of $150,000. What I do, though, is I propose that as additional money flowed into the budget, if we have the good luck that might happen, is that I would take the library and the recreation, the two that I proposed, and I'd put them back on the tax roll. That would be my choice before I put additional money over on the school side, because both of those things have impact on kids.
I'm just trying to back into a number that would be the general government, for about $500,000. I mean, I'm not looking in an override to cover the retirement benefit savings,
No, of course.
you know.
Well, but maybe some of the.
Oh, you're talking about in terms of restoring.
In other words,
Well, you would
we're
restore,
talking about, you know, the $870,000 here, you know, the school department would be looking for in an override, correct? Am I reading this correctly? 870 on the school, and then we would be looking to restore some of the, we're sliding some money over here.
Right.
Restore some of those funding sources back to us. I
Right.
would think it would be possibly the trash, the recreation, the $145,000 for recreation, the library, and the police.
And part of the 184 that's already been cut. I
but
think
I wouldn't fund back the insurance copay. I think we need to take a stand on that, period.
You would what? You would fund that?
No.
No, you wouldn't. No, that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't include that.
Okay.
And again, as far as the 184, it's really
Let him
148,
finish.
because
Yeah,
it's really
Bill, and then
148,
you-
because we've already taken the cruiser that we took out of here and we put it into free cash. So it's really another $150,000.
But I mean, the point is that, we're not gonna do this, the point is that we have to sit down and figure out what number it is that we're gonna ask for what we need for the town side. Some of this, you're right, is savings and not cuts.
Right.
But you wanna restore the cuts, and I think you need to sit down and figure that out.
I'm just looking at the list here, you know, that was presented, so, you know, realistically, what would we be doing? And again, we may or may not, if we're gonna take a stand on the co-pays, you know, then yeah, then we put ourselves in a bind whereby if we can't come to an agreement, then.
There's a reduction.
There's a reduction in force.
If I may, Bob? I think one important thing this board has to do, at some point and very soon, if not tonight, is to agree on what cuts we're gonna agree on.
Yes.
I'm not agreeing to lay off 2 police officers. I'm just not going to do it. If the majority of the board agrees with that, so be it. I'll be outnumbered, but I'm not gonna agree to that. So if we have to shift that money automatically into an override vote, we have to do it. I think we have to figure out, you know, because this is what we constantly will tell other groups. We wanna know your numbers and what you're gonna do, and this is what we have to do. I mean, these are all proposals, and I thank the town administrator, and I thank you, Bob, but we haven't decided on these proposals yet.
Understood.
I think we need to ask the administration to go back and look at it some more, and look at real program cuts. Because again, we're not gonna agree on everything. Maybe we'll get a consensus.
Yeah, right,
A
I
majority, you know, I'm not gonna vote for the $500,000, but the majority may very well.
Right,
So that
I-
would include the police.
exactly.
You may
We're
not vote for
talking
the
the
police, and I
same
may
thing.
vote for the police, same thing. But by the same token, I think we really need to take a hard look at some of the other programs that we offer, and where would we cut? I mean, even looking down the road, so that even if it's a foundation that we're laying for next year,
Right.
because we're gonna be looking at these types of issues again next year, and these one-time
Yeah.
windfalls aren't gonna be there necessarily. Maybe we'll have a new windfall, but these aren't gonna be here. And if we realize the savings on the health insurance, great. That might go carry us forward a little bit, but maybe not.
Well, the way I look at it is we change the insurance copay this year. When the GIC comes in, it's gonna get changed anyway.
If it gets accepted, you have 70%
Well,
of the units vote for it.
it's gotta be accepted. We don't have any choice.
No?
The legislature set it up so that you have a say. I
We've
understand.
gotta find a way of getting it accepted.
Entice
Okay.
them to accept it. I don't disagree.
So, you know, my view is that, you know, when you talk about recurring, right, the only things that are non-recurring that's on this list, one is the Voc School, which I don't even recommend we touch because I don't think that's a good number, and 2 is the retirement benefits, which is gonna be up or down depending on who decides to retire next year, in 2010. So, all of the rest, if we implement what I've presented, right, that's continuing revenue. Now, none of these are easy decisions, you know, I agree, and, you know, but,
I guess I don't think we've made the tougher ones yet, the toughest one yet. I don't think we've gone, I don't think we've looked
what would
deep
you
enough.
propose that?
Again, I think we just need I mean, if we're talking about some of the programs that we have, and I had to say, whether it be the senior center, whether it be, you know, cut back complete fire safety, if the police department department is